Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into Molson Coors' latest filing, and let me tell you, it's not just about beer and good times. There's a little something about how they plan to pay their executives, so you know how those talks go. This report is an 8K filing, a snapshot of important events that happened. In this case, it's mostly about what happened at their annual meeting of stockholders where some important votes took place. Before we start, if you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below. First, let's talk about how Molson Coors plans to pay its people. Specifically, the stockholders voted to approve some changes to the Molson Coors beverage company. Incentive compensation plan, this is basically the roadmap for how executives and other employees can earn bonuses and stock awards. One big change is they're increasing the number of shares of Class B common stock that can be handed out under the plan by 5 million shares. Think of it like adding more slices to the bonus pie. Also, they're extending the plan's life for 10 more years, pushing it to May 14, 2035. This means the company can keep using this plan to reward employees for a long time. There are also some smaller administrative tweaks likely to keep things running smoothly behind the scenes. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of the annual meeting votes. There were 4 main things the shareholders voted on. First up, electing directors. These are the people who sit on the board and help steer the company. Stockholders got to vote on who they wanted in those positions for the next year. Let's dive into how those votes went. So there were 2 classes of shareholders that voted to elect nominees, Class A and Class B, for the Class A director nominees. Pretty much everyone was voted in with overwhelming support. Looking at David S. Coors, for example, he had 5,100 and 2,542 votes for him, and just 2,313 votes withheld. The other nominees show similar results, so the shareholders want them in. For the Class B director nominees, again, the votes were overwhelmingly in favour of electing the nominees. For example, Christian Peacocks got 162,785,571 for votes compared to 4,052,701 withheld. Next, the shareholders voted on executive compensation. This is a non-binding advisory vote, which is basically a temperature check on how shareholders feel about how much the top executives are getting paid. And the results were 116,703,356,870 fade and 706 voted join, Yimikeith and 7 nays 6 voted against. This means most shareholders are happy with how the executives are being compensated. The third proposal on the table was about that incentive compensation plan we talked about earlier. Shareholders were asked to approve the changes the company wanted to make. The vote came out like this: 5,116 against. Lastly, shareholders voted to ratify the appointment of PricewaterhouseCoopers L as the company's independent auditor for the year. It's like a routine check to make sure the company is on the up and up with its financial reporting. The results were overwhelmingly in favour: 5,115, 1,115, 1,834, and only 66 votes against. Overall, this SEC filing tells a pretty straightforward story. Molson Coors is making sure its compensation plans are in order. Shareholders are mostly on board with the company's direction, and the usual corporate housekeeping is getting done. There weren't necessarily any big red flags, but let's consider the broader picture. Molson Coors is a giant in a very competitive beverage market. They face pressures from all sides: big beer rivals, the rise of craft breweries, and shifting consumer tastes towards things like hard seltzers and non-alcoholic drinks. The executive compensation plan at its core indicates that the company is trying to keep their top talent happy and motivated, which makes sense given the challenges they face. It will be interesting to see how those incentives play out and whether it helps Molson Coors stay ahead in this ever-changing market. One risk here could be whether the business performance will be on par with executive pay and shareholder expectations. Alright, that's our breakdown of Molson Coors' latest filing. What's your take on these votes and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.